This is uRoutine's You Are Infinite podcast, the show where host Ed Johnson explores the daily habits, routines and stories of world-class thinkers and doers. Each week you'll hear from experts who share small practices that fuel big results. Hit subscribe and let's jump into today's episode.
Founder and entrepreneur. You started working though when you were 14 years old as a painter and decorator. You then moved on to some internships, Rolls-Royce of note. Then in your early 20s began building robots. We then worked together on Pushfar, where we built out, or rather you built out the sales machine. You subsequently co-founded a virtual reality company called Mixed Reality Rooms. You're now running ABM Answered. Sam, welcome.
Thanks very much for having me, Ed. I'm looking forward to it.
So let's start back when you were 14. Give us an introduction to your journey from there to where you are now, and how you got from painting and decorating to getting into entrepreneurship and building robots.
Yeah, I think my high was Pushfar, Ed, so we'll get to that. It always went upwards. So it started, I was very keen to work, eager to work, and my dad owns a painting, or he used to, painting and decorating company. Looking back, it was probably like child slave labour. He was paying me like £40 for the week to go work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, painting a hotel, just like miscoating. And you know what? I loved working. Grafted hard, and then I think you're more excited to just get involved with working, as opposed to actually like kind of what you're doing. And then, as you said, I've kind of tried a lot of different things.
You're talking now about the discipline of work from an early age, which is certainly the case for anyone who knows you, Sam. But
It was more of a case I was just willing and excited to do anything, and I think I actually held that for longer than most people in their life. Not any sort of flex, more stupidity, right? Like if any opportunity came up, I would jump into it. So my first like real job, so to speak, was at a garden centre. I got that through my friend at college. I've done door-to-door sales, like knocking on people's doors for money, and that was some guy stopping me in the street in Bristol, holding up a billboard saying, do you want a job? And I had like a month to kill before uni started, so I was like, sure, yeah, let's do it. And kind of, yeah, just like putting myself out there more and more, and that's kind of bode quite well for me, I guess, and it's opened up the doors to lots of the things that I've done in my career, I guess.
famously, sort of, you're very much a founder and creator, I suppose, in what you do. You created lots of fascinating and interesting and very successful things so far. The first one was, am I right in thinking that was Thirsty Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that was probably where my life actually got interesting, and probably actually where I started to feel like myself. Well, I don't know how much of a therapy podcast this is, but like part of, like, you know, people go, oh, find your purpose, find what you're doing. Thirsty Thoughts, I got asked to build this with Ed, my good friend Ed Howe, and he asked me on my birthday. We were very kind of boozed up, and it sounded crazy and unconventional. Let's try and build a company, build mind control beer pouring robots, build a company, and then we had other contacts as well who could actually build them. And Ed was like, I want you to come in and, like, let's try and start selling them. That was great, and I think that at that point it was kind of like I felt like I was on the right path, like doing my thing, because I wasn't just in my room experimenting, selling like £10 necklaces on Shopify or anything else I could do, like drop shipping. Like, we actually started to kind of form and build a real company. Yeah, it was a good time in my life then, for while it lasted anyway.
While it lasted, what happened to change that? If you're happy to talk about that.
Oh yeah, no. So basically, I set off to do this. So I was painting and decorating at the time before we started, and I was earning like £1,450 exactly, I think, every 4 days, like painting 2 flat. I was like, my knees were ruined, like, but I was grafting really hard, earning lots and lots of money. And at this point in my life, obviously I wanted to move away from painting, but I stopped that to go in and build this under like the assumption of, you know, I was going to get certain amounts of equity or remuneration and things like that. That was my first dumbass mistake. Sorry to curse on your show. Anyway, a couple of years in, turns out it wasn't going to come to fruition, and I started planning to like move away and just do my own thing. Similar space, similar industry, not the same sort of robots, but I rightfully got fired for that. Now, what was wonderful about that was, well, 2017 I think we met, didn't we? And then I think sometime in 2019, for some random reason, I messaged you again on LinkedIn, literally for like no specific agenda. I just wanted to connect with other founders. And I came to the office, met you. We were talking about like email outreach. And then I think maybe another 3, 4, 5 months later, when this kind of fallout happened, you were also there to kind of pick up the pieces, and you had no right to pick up the pieces, Ed, but you were a very, very good friend to me, and then that's kind of how it evolved, the gateway to Pushfar. I don't know if you want to dig any deeper on the previous, but that's kind of my story.
I remember when we first met, I could tell that you were incredibly driven and incredibly, the word passionate to use so much, and a lot of the time when it shouldn't be, but you were so passionate about creating things, and you were so keen to build interesting things, whether those were tech things or physical products, and entrepreneurship in general. And I think I learned a lot from you, probably about the startup space. I remember those conversations.
I was just working the room. It was in like some barbarian tavern or something, wasn't it? Like underground. There was interesting people there. I think there was a guy called Jack who was building like painting robots anyway, which I found interesting. But yeah, Pushfar was, I think it was just a B2C peer network at that, open mentoring network at that point. I don't think you'd established like any B2B play. Or had you even built a product at that point?
I think we just launched, and we're working out how to generate revenue, I suppose. We knew that there were potential opportunities, both from a B2B and a B2C play, but I could tell from the conversations that we were having that you knew a lot more about sales than I did, and it was obviously clear very quickly. It was very clear that we actually need to know how to sell in order to have a successful business.
Revenue's overrated.
Absolutely not. But so you joined us at the beginning, I think, of the pandemic, at the beginning of 2020. You came on.
It was superb. I loved it. Honestly, I was thinking about this recently, like the way Thirsty Thoughts ended. So me and Eddie, he was like my best friend. Still is. I've still got so much respect for him. And now it was a tough period, but you kind of like almost pulled me out of that. And to like, obviously, I think part of obviously what we're talking about here is routine. I think when you're going through an absolute crisis, like you need a routine more than ever. Like even when things are going good, if you go off piece and like don't do your routine for a couple of days, I start to feel a bit shaky. But like I made it an absolute mission that like I'm not going to sit there and wallow in self-pity, to quote the Grinch here. But like I'm going to go out, meet people, and just talk to people, and like make sure to get out the house. And for me, I am a bit of an extrovert, I guess, as much as I don't like to see myself as one. But like I have to talk to people. So if that's not incorporated into my routine, especially when I'm going through a difficult time, that's a big red flag. In terms of actually starting with you, yeah, it was superb. I think there was a lot of like groundwork from what you've done to when we joined. So I had Tangina here. Obviously, we were trying to like mix and merge, and well, we don't need to get too much into the details. But I think, to be honest, we experimented a lot. I think we did very well to capitalise early on, like that COVID like outreach before everyone just kept getting spammed and things like that. So I think we did pretty well together. But again, I'm nothing without a good product. So, it's all you at the end of the day.
Well, talking of product, I mean, you made a real success of helping us to build the sales machine at Pushfar. And then you decided that you wanted to build your own products. So you'd kind of done that with physical products, with Thirsty Thoughts. And then what happened towards the end with Pushfar, and then leaving Pushfar to start your own business?
Yeah, so it kind of came apparent that the people that were asking for us to do in-person activations, turns out they're humans as well, and they're affected by like COVID and external factors, and their jobs changed, but the relationship still stood. So they were asking like how you create experiences in person, can you create them online to avoid like Teams and Zoom fatigue and things like that. So I met one of my co-founder Charlie online on Co-Founders Lab, and we got together building like a video game solution. It took a long time before it like made any money, like 9 months before like we closed the deal. But yeah, the deal was pretty substantial, so it was like, oh, there could be something here. And yeah, now we've done everything. We've built trade shows and conferences like Facebook. We've done product launches for like DeLonghi, Kenwood and Braun, so like coffee machines. We've done dinosaur tours for paleontologists out in Arizona. That was good fun. And yeah, like ABM became a thing of that. So it's account-based marketing, not to get too technical, but it's a specific type of marketing. And then yeah, we started honing in on that. And more recently, we're building like onboarding sales experiences as well for people.
And you've got mixed reality rooms, which sits under ABM Answered, and I don't think you'll mind talking about this. You have lots and lots of ideas, and I think in the last 3 years we've probably talked about and spoken about lots of different things that you've either been building or wanted to build. How do you structure your day, structure your week, and manage all the different things that you're working on? Because it's fair to say, and I think most founders and entrepreneurs will know that the role of a founder or an entrepreneur is probably hectic is one word to describe it. You've got to do everything, right? But you're doing that across multiple products and services and businesses. How do you do that?
Right, so how do you do it all? From our conversations, you don't, right? So I think my self-diagnosed ADHD here is proven really well. It allows me to be creative, merge ideas, cross-pollinate, all this sort of stuff. Phenomenal. To do things well, or to do things to even give them a chance of actually working, it's so much better to just build one thing at a time, rather than like hedge your bets and try and build lots and lots of things. So even with ABM Answered and Mixed Reality Rooms, what we've worked on, as I've told you before, is like ABM Answered has almost taken like a back burner, right? I'm fortunate enough to be able to employ Haja and Jackie to help run that, and they can get guests, and I can just come on and do like an hour here and there, and it helps grow the community. And then obviously I attend events and can piece people together. But 90% of my time now is spent on Mixed Reality Rooms and trying to get like that sales and onboarding piece out, that experience out. So yeah, my biggest advice is try and limit the things that you focus on, and I'm saying that from painful experience. I want to do everything, but also if you are going to run multiple things, 2 or I'd say absolute maximum 3 things, you need to like be able to time block and time crunch it, right? So it needs to almost have like focused days on certain things, and I try and do at least 3 hours of deep work a day, most days 4, and I usually do that first thing in the morning, starting with the most important task. Now for me, sorry, you might want to dice this up. Do you want to ask another question? Or
No, keep going.
Okay, so caveat here, I think any advice you hear about like this is the way you need to structure your life is garbage. Like do whatever works for you, for sure. I think this is the point of uRoutine. But if you are kind of like driven to some degree, not even driven, but if you have that feeling of like you feel like you're being behind, I find getting up early works really well, because if you can get away like 1, 2, maybe 3 hours of work, so even if it's like 6 and most people start at 9, if you can get away 3 hours worth of work, it almost gives you a psychological doesn't even matter how good that work is, but it's giving you like that psychological like relief that you've kind of got up before everyone, that you've done more than everyone, and it just puts me in a better mood. Whereas I found if I get up at like 10:30 because I've worked till like 1 or 2 a.m, I feel like I'm behind, I've missed the day, and I've almost like the best result I'm going to get that day is going to be like a draw. So yeah, and I kind of learnt that from, I've always got up quite early, but I've definitely been inspired by you there to do that, because I know you're a early bird yourself.
Absolutely, the 5 a.m. club.
I mean, that's a bit too aggressive for me. I'll get up at 6.
Early mornings and deep work. Talk about what deep work looks like, because that's a phrase that's used quite a lot of late. But what does it mean for you, and how does that work for you then?
That's a superb question. So I truly believe everyone knows what they need to be doing. Like, the only thing clouding their judgment is like, God, I sound like David Goggins, but like it's kind of like that smoke and mirrors, those excuses, those things that they put in front of them. Like, I know what I enjoy the most, and that would probably be messing around with a website or designing stuff. I'm quite creative. But what does the business need? Oh, needs money. How do I get money? Oh, sales. Well, do I enjoy that? No. Do I need to do that if I want to like get to where I want to be? Yes. So it's pretty obvious. You've got two ways to raise a bit. Two things you can focus on: cut the cost or raise revenue. And obviously, if you're starting a business, you need to raise the revenue as a first port and call. So anything, the quickest way to raise revenue is the thing that I would focus on from, again, a business. But life isn't all about business. But yeah, that's what I'm focusing most of my days on.
I'm going to pick up on what you just said there. Life isn't all about business. So obviously, I think for any entrepreneur or any founder will know that life is never plain sailing. And as a founder, your life kind of is your business, but at the same time, there are other parts of one's life. There's family, there's relationships, there's everything else. When other things don't go the way you plan them to, how do you stay motivated, disciplined, focused on that deep work, or don't you? What does that look like in the times where things are a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, I think ideal scenario, you don't let it affect you, and you stick to the logic, right? The plan of, right, here is what's on my to-do list, and here is what needs to be done. The reality for me is right now, like, not right now, but like it just does affect you, especially if you're having like relationship problems. I feel like, so I've tracked my life in spreadsheets basically for like 7 years, and like I found relationships or my human-to-human connection I have with people affects me the most. Having no money, I can deal with that. Like being a bit overweight, that doesn't bother me, but like relationships is important. And I think that's what ties into the solution here as well. You know, if you want to get to where you need to be, if you want to get to your goal, you need to stick to the routine at all costs. And if relationships to some degree have the biggest influence on your life and, you know, can negatively impact your structure and your routine, there's no reason to play devil's advocate to that kind of hypothesis that relationships can actually benefit, keep you on track to do your routine. And this isn't just a plug for you, but it's like you and I have been on runs before. I don't want to go on a run. Like, I hate running. But the only reason I do it is because, I'm going to go see Ed and I'm going to show him that I can do a half marathon on no training. What I've understood is from and I'm trying to get better at critical thinking, is like, I've got like 7 years of data in my life knowing that relationships influence me the most. What I am trying to do a bit better now is to leverage that in a positive way and help me stick to and keep me on track. And that's part of what ABM Answered's really good for. So all these people that I interview, I owe them, you know, clips afterwards. I owe them like connections. I do everything I can to just give to them. And then when I haven't like delivered on my promise, which I try to make that a minimal, they chase me up for it. So again, it's that social accountability piece which has been super helpful.
Going back to tracking your life in spreadsheets, what have you found most surprising about that and interesting? Because I think for a lot of people, maybe they'll journal daily, maybe they'll reflect on it at the end of the week. But you're doing something really interesting in that you're visualizing this. You've got all of this data that you've logged over 7 years. There must be some quite interesting insights.
I wouldn't say it would have surprised me, but like it's crazy the fallout across other areas of your life, right? So health and fitness drop. Your like spirituality, if you're into that, sort of drops. Your environment feels lonelier, and like you need to change that. And it's like the fallout of having bad relationships, and that again is like friends as well, not just like spouses. Like that was quite interesting. Other thing that I've learned is, so I track fulfillment, so I kind of quantified my fulfillment, and it's never like a hockey stick. The goal is never to get to 100, or it is, but it never will be. It's always going to be kind of like a coasting line. In 2017, for example, when I started this, what I found quite interesting is if I won a £2,000 deal, again, going back to business, but that's kind of what my life revolves around, I do love it, a £2,000 deal, I would have the same amount of happiness as to what like we closed, like a £30,000 deal now, right? Okay. And likewise, I would experience the same amount of stress as what I experienced back then as I do now. So the one obviously it comes with time and experience. You need to be exposed to, you can aim higher. But like one of the learnings I've got from it is basically like if you're going to experience the exact same amount of pain, but arguably win a better reward, like there is no reason why you shouldn't just aim at the top of like what you think is possible. And I say what the top because like you can't go, you're going to get demotivated if you go out and say, right, I'm going to earn £10 million tomorrow, sure. But like if you're like, wow, what if I like added a zero onto the end? So I've gone from 1,000 to 10,000, or if I went from 1 mile to 10 miles, the same pleasure, stress receptors are the same, and then what happens is the parameters change.
So could you use that the other way around then, and argue it the other way around, that actually you're going to get the same pleasure from running 1 kilometre as you are from running 5 kilometres? So the most important thing is that you do it, and you just get started and you do what you feel you want to or what you feel you can, and you don't set big goals every day. And actually the most important thing is you go out for that run rather than you go out and run 10k.
Right, okay, so I would 100% agree with this. And the reason why is I feel like people that go out and do burn themselves out, and that could be like, I'm going to work 15 hours this day, and then they don't want to work for the rest of the week. Or the people that go out on the runs, like I'm suggesting, they go out, burn themselves out, and then they want to take like a 2 week because they didn't enjoy it. The most recent experience for this is cycling. So I've just kind of started cycling. Started very, very small. And I've done it so much and incrementally improving it. And it's the same with deep work. Like I started with an hour, then an hour 15, hour. It's better to build up that way and make sure you get to that because you form the habit, as opposed to just trying to jump straight in and doing. It's like you should go to the gym and not even lift weights like the first time. Just go in, experience it, relax, maybe walk on the treadmill for a tiny bit, and then the next day just build it up slowly. Because that's another thing that I've learned from just my experience trying to achieve things. I think you can't necessarily jump all in.
Possibly as entrepreneurs, as we both are, and as founders, and correct me if you disagree with this, but possibly have unrealistic expectations of what we can achieve.
Yeah, all the time. But that's also the beauty of it, right? Like I wouldn't want realistic expectations to some degree because it's kind of inspiring to just go for it.
Do you feel though that setting unrealistic expectations and then not meeting them results in more disappointment, or does it motivate you to do more then because you've missed the target?
I would like to think that it would motivate me more, but I also know, like speaking with my mum and things, like not everyone is like me. Like if I don't get something, I like kind of lock my teeth in and kind of like push harder. whereas some people don't opt for that. And I don't know what the ratio of people is, but I understand what you mean, and I would definitely say a more sustainable, and if you want to increase your chances of success of achieving anything, it would be to start super small and build up really slowly, and then before you know it, you're breezing it. Like, I'm fasting at the moment. I did like a 12-hour fast. No, I didn't. I did a 24-hour fast, a 36-hour fast, and then a 60-hour fast. And then I went back to like a 36-hour fast, and I do that weekly, and it's easy. But like, I didn't jump straight in and be aggressive. And I also got that from you as well. Wow.
Do you have anyone keeping you accountable to any of those things, or do you find that you are generally okay at keeping yourself accountable?
No, like I said, I suck at that. I used to think I was really good, but I realised with the running, I still don't want to do this run with you, but I will do it because I enjoy hanging out with you. Business, I have my co-founder Charlie. The community, I have like a lot of people. Whatever I try and start now, even in business, if I want to push myself to the next level, I'm trying to make more of a conscious effort to spend more time with those sort of people. And it's all well and good saying it, but I think the challenge is really finding it. Like I said, I've been very lucky. Like, we met at an event. You've always been a good running buddy, but also like a business, like, yeah, I'm always trying to one up you somehow. I'm a couple of points behind you at the moment, but yeah, there needs to be a platform for this, Ed.
It absolutely does. If only there was something that could hold you accountable and help you to create the right routine. In response to the last question, you spoke about what's next, or talking about what the next goals you set might be. What do they look like? What's next for you?
We really want to push the sales training experience out. We've proven that people are willing to pay for it, and we've proven value across like organisations. So that is my next business focus. I'm trying to lose like a little weight. Currently down 8 kilos. Woohoo! So I'm going to keep fasting. So talking about accountability, I do that with my brother every week on a Monday. I wouldn't find it enjoyable if I couldn't text someone like my brother, "Oh God, this sucks," kind of like every week. Yeah, well, I'm also helping Aora at the moment, which is a law tech company, break into a new market, and by applying ABM strategies. So that is a big challenge for me, and I want to crack that as well.
So what are the 3 most important commitments you'd say that would feature on a daily or weekly routine for you?
Getting up early makes all the difference for me. Deep work, obviously, is a big one. Every other day, I try to exercise because it keeps me sane. I think they're the top 3, but to be honest, I would also throw in this fasting one as like a bonus one, because not necessarily for weight loss or anything, but it's like the discipline of doing something for over, it's not just like an hour, but like that's kind of really helped me mentally.
Well, they say that fasting improves focus as well, mental clarity. Have you found that to be the case?
Yeah, I'm locked in right now, Ed. After 24 hours, it definitely helps. The first 24 hours, I wouldn't say it helps. I'd say it actually kind of hinders you because you're thinking about your tummy all the time.
As long as you can get past that first 24 hours to the 36 or the 48 hours, it becomes worth it.
Yeah, it gets easier as well.
Nice. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else to add? Anything else you'd like to say?
No, go download uRoutine. When it's out, I don't know when this is going to get published. Everything Ed touches is gold, so, And if you are looking for an accountability, I don't know how the functionality or anything works, but I'm always open to meeting people if they can hold me more accountable to my goals. I'm sure you'll see me on there.
That's exactly how it works. It's all about accountability. Create a routine that everyone else can see and even copy. So there might be elements of your commitments and your routine that others can copy.
Do you know, I actually need like someone to hold me accountable for like cooking or something, just so that I'm not eating like rice and chicken and halloumi every night. It's getting pretty boring at this point. So I don't know how. Yeah. Well, no, it's not even that healthy. It just like I look down at my plate and it's just beige or just white, and I'm like, I should probably put some vegetables in this thing. Anyway, I don't know what category that will come under, but there will be someone out there that also doesn't want to just eat Uncle Ben's chicken korma every night, you know.
5 a day on your daily routine, that seems like something you could tick off every day, and if you're not ticking it off, everyone else will be able to see that you've missed it.
No, that's actually a really good one. Okay, yeah, I'm going to start that category.
There we go. Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure, and it's always great to catch up. Excited to see how you'll use uRoutine.
Nice, dude. Thanks so much for having me. Cheers, Ed.